Because when I think of duets, you know, I think of like old school, like Rocío Dúrcal or something like that, you know.
Yeah, you're right.
Con el Puma, or you know what I'm saying?
I was doing that.
You know.
There is some out there actually with.
No, sí, claro que sí, but that's,
No.
para mí no me mola, you know, duets like that es muy raro que I want to be like, ooh, eso, you know. Pero I'll say this live and I'll say it right now. Una de las bellas cosas que salió de este pandemia was so many collaborations of so many different artists.
Aquí tu amigo locutor, programador y muy bien desconocido, Dr. G.
Y su cómplice, el Chivo, y acompañándonos esta noche en especial, la Chicles, porque el Manolo took a little hiatus tonight, you know.
Hiatus.
Sí, ¿qué onda? ¿Qué onda? Bueno, acabamos de escuchar a, wow, okay, this song that you put on.
Right.
Okay. Tengo más de 30 años de ser que esta canción, Mala Vida, has been one of my favorite jams in over 30 years. And it's funny to hear El Señor Flavio singing it. It gave me goosebumps when you brought it on.
Pues mira, el grupo All the Hats, ATH. Did you hear? I mean, have you heard about the group, or have you heard?
Un poquito, pero no te puedo mentir que soy super knowledgeable de All the Hats. I mean, all I know is that they're been around for a while in Argentina. They do it up.
And to my surprise, porque sí fue surprise, like I knew them, but I didn't. You know, and obviously the social distortion, the Clash, the Rancid, that type of influence.
Well, cuando ellos empezaron, cantaban más en inglés. And as through the years, they started transitioning more and more into like en castellano. And el último disco que sacaron en finales de 2020, so in the middle, beginning of the pandemic, sacaron un disco, and it was mainly all covers, you know, and collabs and duets.
Hence, you know, we have here this one, una canción de Mano Negra featuring Señor Flavio de los Fabulosos Cadillacs con el grupo All the Hats. Todo argentino, you know, it was super argentino con esta canción. Me encantó y fue el reto de esta noche, ¿no? A través de lo que Diabólico nos propuso, ¿no? Un duet. Earlier, you were talking about this on Facebook, how when you heard duet, you're thinking duetos, like old school duetos, right?
When he proposed it to us, like, era como la medianoche, I opened up the text. He's all right, challenge, vatos. We're going to do a duet show, blah, blah. Y hice una cara. I was like, okay, well, let me try.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
And immediately I started thinking of El Puma, Rocío Dúrcal,
right, yes,
Vicente Fernández, or like old school duets that I grew up on. Okay, and I was like, la verdad que no me mola. Appreciate him, whatever. But then I realized que aquí en mi vecindad, we've been doing it all along, little by little, for years, and I was just like, oh, pues aquí una que otra, and le hice. I made a list in menos de 10-15 minutos.
Nice.
Bam, boom, done. So that's what we're going to start off in esta noche. Okay. So empezó Dr. G with All the Hats, un collab con Señor Flavio doing a Mano Negra song, Mala Vida. Amazing. Okay. Biznaga sacó un disco el año pasado, which in my opinion was one of the best discazos de 2022. And Biznaga did a collab with Triángulo del Amor Bizarro. Y la canción se llama Un Domingo Especial. Check it out.
Mi vecindad. Órale.
domingo especialmente. Like, that's what I get for not like looking at my like.
No, especialmente triste. It's fine.
Yeah.
Not a big deal, but Facebook, he messed up.
Yeah.
But
So I
listen
get
to
when I'm not looking stuff.
listen to the
Because
song. It's a great
song. I'm still old school. I listen to my stuff like over headphones and.
Well, yeah, no, and it isn't until we're in front of it or when what I do when I'm listening to the playlist, when you guys send me your set, I'll look at it as I'm listening. So I'm listening, I'm like, oh, okay, that's fun. And it's like I remember the song, sometimes I remember the artist. I'm like, what is one? Órale. And so that's the way.
Well, también, mira, we were raised differently. I mean, estamos tan viejos nosotros que when we used to get material nuevo, música nueva, siempre tenemos el vinilo, el CD, el cassette, tenemos la portada, y era de leer la portada, the thank you notes, the linear notes, las letras. Even en cassettes, abrías la página como en dos portaditas, you know, like.
The inserts.
Y era eso lo que sí I really, really miss in this digital age. There is no.
It's hard to be tangible that way because
if
you were more responsible. Porque si era un vinilo, un CD o hasta un cassette.
¿Cuántas veces alguien nos robaba nuestros CDs?
Yeah.
You know, cassettes or whatever. Anyways, so desfortunadamente,
you know,
now when I listen to music, I listen to like, you know, streaming services. So your screen goes blank and I don't stare at anything. I just listen to music.
You just listen.
You know?
Y esta canción, Domingo Especialmente Triste, featuring Triángulo de Amor Bizarro. I mean.
El disco. And we're going to touch upon Triángulo more on the night. El disco que sacó Biznaga del año pasado son 12 temas that are like un alternativo, un punk rock totalmente buen hecho. And I'm talking about like, okay, Gerardo, you work in disqueras for years.
Yeah.
If you were at BMG, Aslan, back in the day, and this demo came at you,
I was going to say this,
heaven and earth to sign them.
I was going to say this is one of those where like, if you did not discover them or discover this particular album, not them, but you know, porque pues, you know, it was one of those where like you literally had a listening party.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and we did that a lot at BMG actually. También in Aslan Records, like they would bring us, you know, they would send us stuff and we sat together and we turned it on. And then eventually it was only just me and, you know, Roja, or eventually me and Vicky, just listening, you know, me and Chancla just listening to the songs, you know. But this particular album, creo que es eso. It deserves, or it probably did deserve that a listening party because it was that good. You invest that kind of time, you know.
I mean, I tantas buenas temas en esta noche.
Yeah.
De alta calidad. I threw a couple of new groups. Como abajo de la voz estamos escuchando a Error 97 junto a Joder Juan.
Yeah. And Joder has been around, pero is Error the new one?
They're both new. Joder tiene desde el principio del pandemia.
Okay.
And Error empezó en el pandemia.
You've played Joder before?
Yeah, a few times. Okay. También Error 97. Error 97, I think they could barely drive.
Error 97, isn't that like related to like a gaming system where you
it's an old Windows term.
Windows
before Windows 98. Yeah.
I've been on Macs
for years.
Por muchos años that like I knew it related to something technical, pero no, that was like 97.
Estos dos grupos están súper jovencitos. Pero me encanta how they've been sharing the stage y apoyándonos. Se apoyan entre unos mismos. And then they recorded this collab. You know?
Yeah.
And if you listen to it, it's as if Manolo and one of his exes from the 90s were penning a love letter to each other.
I remember those postales, tarjetas postales que me llegaban de Argentina, actually. There was someone we know que me mandaba postales de... Estaba estudiando el océano, la biología de los animales en la Patagonia, ¿no? So somewhere over there in Argentina side, I think it was, where I would get tarjetas postales de la Patagonia. How's that?
Yeah. Como en este tema,
uh-huh.
la chica de Joder Juan is flat out telling Manolo, te voy a cortar los huevos because of what you did to me.
What? Yeah.
Are you talking a bunch of masa again, dude? Tall
Always,
tales and shit. You're projecting, bro.
Yeah,
You're projecting.
Bienvenido.
I'm deflecting it, you know.
You're projecting, bro.
You're projecting. Turning on mics.
Perfect timing, Manolo. Perfect timing.
Where are we at? ¿Qué onda, cabrones?
Apenas estamos terminando. Acaban de escuchar a Error 97 junto a Joder Juan con Tenemos que hablar. A very sincere love letter de dos chicos de la malasaña. Straight up saying, you know what? Te voy a cortar los huevos. Güey.
Me jodiste la vida.
Me jodiste la vida. And it's a wonderful, realistic love song.
Yeah.
You know?
It happens.
You know, you punked me out. So like, yeah, you know, I'm going to jump you from behind and stab.
Chingas. Cuidado. No, it's not slap.
Yeah.
Slap.
Well, you missed out, Manolo. We had a great discussion on All the Hats junto a señor Flavio con la versión de Malavida. Brilliant song. And then we went straight into Biznaga con Un Domingo Especialmente Triste junto a Triángulo del Amor Bizarro, which we reiterated that we think that's one of the gem albums del año pasado. Anyways, we're going to keep this special night, the collabs going. Let me see what else I got in the lineup. Okay.
Yes.
We're going to...
Una quick pregunta. So love how the set opened up. Tribute to Mano Negra, Malavida, fantastic with Señor Flavio. Biznaga, I think that was probably my top 1 or 2 album of last year.
That's what we talked about. We talked about how, like, you know, and we're not going to let Triángulo go to the side because they're important for tonight and the whole collab vibe that we got going.
They're on there.
Triángulo is like, we could have done un show of Triángulo collabs from top to bottom. We really could have, but we only did a couple of jams, you know.
That's cool. Anyways, that we both did one.
Well, the thing is, the set al revés.
Yeah, like, yeah. Because I just got out of a meeting.
Canción, so I was going to come up with this one. That was going to be like, bam. Anyways, it still works out beautifully. Vamos a seguir en España, pero vamos a little bit up north with a collab from Belaco, which is one of my favorite Basque bands of the last 15 years. And I love to hear her sing in Spanish because she hardly ever sings in Spanish. It's almost always in English or en euskera. Junto a Delaporte, which is an odd combination. Don't you guys admit?
This is a guilty pleasure of mine.
Yeah.
This particular version.
I agree. 100% contigo, Manolo. Pero Belaco has a unique sound and Delaporte has a totally different sound. And yet they make it work really well. So let's check it out. La canción se llama El Volcán de Delaporte featuring Belaco.
Aquí en mi vecindad, la banda Elástica Radio.
Oh, I completely agree. It's a guilty pleasure. It's
one
of those songs that, like,
but you can't tell that they're different in this song.
No.
Right?
And have you seen the video to it? They do a live video where they perform live.
So is the Delaporte the singer who starts off the song?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
She's a little bit more higher pitched.
Yeah, she's I hate using this term, especially here in Vecindad, but like they're definitely more of the straight pop, you know.
De la Porte.
You know, yeah.
Yeah,
You know, they
Isn't
have
this-
some alternative touches, but they definitely lean
It's not the one that's kind of black and white. Was there a black and white one? No. Of
not this one.
of this song.
The videos in color.
Oh,
in vivo.
yeah. I remember because nomás la cantante de Paco, right? She's just her.
No, the whole band. The whole
band?
the bassist is there too, playing bass, you know.
So they're doubling up the whole band.
Yeah, almost all the collabs that Manolo and I put together, they're not duets because they're not just singers. It's usually like bands, like por eso digo que they're collabs, you know, which I think makes it so much more interesting.
Yeah, they definitely bring in their own sound.
You know, so you could see where Belaco brings in a little bit of more their fierceness into this very poppy song. And Manolo nails it. It's a guilty pleasure. It's one of those songs where like, all right, you want fresa? Here you go.
There is nothing fresa about this. There's a lot of cherry action going on because it tastes really good. I'll tell you one thing though, and I texted earlier, no, this is just a great playlist.
Mm-hmm.
Todas estas canciones de esta noche, they're just a little bit different, but they're different enough that they work. Right, kind of like this song, no?
Yeah, the way it was originally set up, like I love how my set ended and then it transitioned to Hector's set into the These Naga song, and I was like, oh man, that just sounds too good together.
Yeah.
But then I also liked how I rearranged it, like especially one of the songs to complement the final song of the show. And I was like, oh, this just gives it like a really nice, cool.
It was set up better
fade
than
out.
The original way, but we roll with it here in Moose and that, you know.
Well, it's great music.
Yeah. Now, this next song, this is probably closer to a duet because you have Pena y Peligro con Los Delfinos Entrenados para Matar. So she's just a singer-songwriter. But dang, is this song, like, I know Manolo was dancing around his living room one day listening to this.
Oh yeah, this is a great song.
You know, it's a great, it complements some of the rolas that you're going to hear later on tonight in this whole like dance vibe.
Yeah.
The two that stood out to me because they were newish to me, like Biznaga, I've listened to that album a lot. Y también the last song we heard, Mujeres, you played them a couple of times. Y también your last song, pero the song que before Error 97.
Error 97.
And this Delfines one, those two were fucking, I was just gravitating towards them because they sound great and they were like newer, you know, I hadn't listened to them as much.
Yeah,
but
no,
it was really easy to put this set together because lo que pasó en el pandemia forced people to like, beautiful thing about Zoom and the internet and downloading stuff by high bandwidth, you can send tracks over and just do your own stuff on top of it, and collabs are happening left and right, you know.
But this is a definitely dancey end of the night vibe, you know. It's got that I guess that dreamy essence to it. Yeah.
Oh, this would have been like, you know, this could have easily snuck in between like Soda Stereo and Caifanes at the end of the night type, you know, 96. It made everybody get up and dance too, you know.
I wonder how it sounds today at those kind of clubs. You know what I mean? If it's still the same
stuck in the 90s, I hope it's still stuck in the 90s.
Yeah, or are they like Mi Vecindad? You know,
most of them are probably stuck in the 90s.
Yeah, I hope not.
No, not negating that. Obviamente los grupos de los 80s, 90s.
No, buenísimo, pero debe de haber una colaboración
Still,
como estamos haciendo aquí.
It's classic rock.
It is now classic.
Porque ya son 30 años.
Yeah.
I think classic rock is considered anything over 20 years old. That's why you have people like Slipknot and like, Rage and stuff like that. They're considered classic rock. And I'm sitting there going, wait a minute, but that was just like,
dude, fucking 9 Inch Nails classic rock. You gotta be fucking kidding me, dude.
Yeah.
Any 9 Inch is very classic. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But anyway, tonight aquí en mi vecindad, a través de DiavloVision, la banda Elástica Radio, estamos con este playlist super. It's a great playlist. I mean, it's just great music. That's just it. No. What else can I say? Nothing.
When do mics get turned on?
In a little bit.
Okay.
You got now. Oh, this is your second song, right?
No.
Sound mics on.
Mics on. Mics on. Acaban de escuchar a Delfines entrenados para matar con la canción Los días pasan. Juntos. Los Delfines están juntos con una singer-songwriter que se llama Penny Peligro, which I don't know why I haven't played more of her stuff. It's actually really good. She does more acoustic folk punk, which is not what Delfines plays at all. But
kind of como Liv, ¿cómo se llama? ¿Te acuerdas?
Like Liv Wallace, like, yeah, kind of like that, Antes de eso, Delaporte, con la canción El Volcán featuring Belaco. Manolo nails it when he says guilty pleasure because,
both songs.
Listen to it too much, it's going to give you tooth decay, but it's going to taste good,
Both songs very, very dancey, in a completely different way. What I like about esta canción que acabamos de escuchar, de Delfines entrenados para matar, that to me, it's like it's got like this, almost like this, just enough, a hint of like cold wavy, cool, cold wavy. Yeah.
Yeah. It leans heavily. You could see it, like, anyways, pretty neat. We got to keep going because we have mucha música en esta. Durante el pandemio, especially el primer 8 meses, 10 meses, en un lugar, even a year, a lot of the clubs shut down. Yeah. A lot of venues shut down. Los antros, todos estaban cerrados. You couldn't play. A lot of the clubs went under. Una de las bandas de Malasaña, specificamente mujeres, decided to call up their friends and do a series of 7 inches, and all proceeds benefited some of their favorite clubs de la Malasaña. And mujeres hooked up with tons of bands, from Triángulo to Los Puncetes to, oh my God, it was like a who's who, of.
Okay, Hector.
Yeah.
Quick summary. Mujeres, how long have they been around?
Ya tienen un chingo de años. Tienen como, like 12, 13 years, 14 years.
Wow. Esta pinche rola está súper agresiva, dude.
Yeah. Well, they're a garage band.
Yeah.
Like garage punky, all, and they would morph on if you go look up those 2 7 inches they did out, they vary con las canciones on depending on who comes to collab with them.
Right.
So esta canción, like, I'm a big fan of Los Puncetes. So having their intensity with her vocals and her lyrics on top of it, winning combination. Anyways, un glorioso año con mujeres y Los Puncetes.
Mi vecindad.
Yeah, this is typically kind of what Mujeres sounds like normally.
Wow.
They do male vocals, with a little bit of maybe Detroit Cobras type slow down bluesy twang, garage type stuff.
Okay.
But when they were teaming up with the other bands in La Malasaña, well, they're collabs, so they kind of morphed every song.
Yeah.
To where it's like a beautiful mess.
Dude, I would love to see mujeres with desenterradas and Rata Blanca, dude. That would just be fucking wild, man.
Yeah.
That would just be wild.
Yeah. And I'm sure they play on occasions together.
No.
You sure you
La
mean
malasaña is-
Rata Blanca or Rata
Means
Negra?
Rata Negra.
Rata Negra, yeah. Not Rata Blanca. My bad.
Yeah.
That's a whole different scene.
Yeah. He's all like, let me let the hair down and go back that.
Yeah, right.
Ow!
It'd be like
Fucking-
Beavis and Butthead.
Yeah. Throw up my trucker hat. Suicidal.
Big time, big time. Mujeres. Yeah, they're really impressive. I mean, now, los puncetes, they've been around longer than
Yeah.
mujeres, you know.
Lo
Pero,
que es mujeres,
ajá.
los puncetes, and
Right.
Triángulo
Mhm.
that are on this set, and Belaco. These are all bands that are pushing 15 years together.
Yeah.
Perhaps even more. You know,
I
these are
think
like
so.
not the youngsters.
No. Tienen más de 10 años todos, you know.
Todos. Yeah, and some of them 15, 16, 17 years, you know. In fact,
Los que tienen más notoriety, obviamente, los puncetes.
Yeah.
Pero,
you know,
pero ¿cómo colaboraron? And it's that, you know, camaraderie,
Mhm.
la música, apoyar a que pasó, you know. Earlier I was talking about qué están tocando ahorita, que me encantaría. I mean, I'm so worried that, porque think about it. If a lot of us are still stuck in the 90s, o sea, toda
early 2000s,
early 2000s,
yeah, then we'd be following and believing the hype that Gustavo Santaloa is telling everybody.
Right. Dude, right now,
are you breaking everything?
Yeah.
right now is the most fucking, honestly, I'm more excited about what's happening right now than what was happening when we first got into the scene.
It's different.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Different.
It's different.
Because-
I agree with both of you.
Okay.
Manolo, I completely agree with you. But at the same time, G, I totally understand. It was different because it was newer in the early 90s. Okay. So it was like even more rebellious, you know?
Yeah.
Right now
Yes.
it's refined. It's like a lightsaber.
It's
You know?
fucking polished as
Oh,
fuck.
It
it's
is. Está muy sabroso la música.
Ayer me mandó un mensaje Felix.
Yeah.
Felix. And me dijo, hey, you know, you haven't sent me a set list in a while. Send me some stuff.
Órale.
Okay. Porque de vez en cuando I would send him a set list here and there, once every couple months, boom.
Mhm.
So I shot him like, I think 5, of ours. And he goes, okay, stop. This is too much. I need to soak this in. I'm like, it's all good, you know. We started talking about certain bands, but we'll talk about that later on. Abajo de la voz. Él mató un policía motorizado con Carolina Durante. Igual, esta grabación se hizo durante el pandemia. Él mató un policía motorizado de Buenos Aires, Argentina. Carolina Durante de Madrid. And they collabed and made a very dreamy song. You know?
It's an intense song too.
Well, I think el vocalista de Carolina Durante has the same intensity that's why I always kind of like, Anabel Lee is more of a punk band than Carolina Durante as far as musical stylings. What I like about both singers, they're very similar in they're a ball of fire on stage and their lyrical intensity and vocal delivery.
Mm-hmm. But it works.
And then you have the vocalist of El Mató un Policía Motorizado. When he comes in, he just sounds like he's slipping it in and you don't even know it's in yet. It's smooth.
It's like you thought that was a finger.
Yeah.
Hey.
He penetrated my velvet and I was just like, oh, buy me a drink first. Like.
All right, cabrón, buy me dinner.
No, you were more like, oh, do it again.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that felt good.
hey, fuckers, quick fucking shout out. November 20th, Psyched Fest is putting on Depresión Sonora.
Really?
Oh, wait,
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah. In San Francisco. I just
Really?
got the email
Wow.
yesterday, I think.
So who's all on PsychFest?
Honestly, this is the only one. I mean, besides Vondre, but I've already seen them, and Sergeant Papers.
Yeah. Man, Depresión Sonora does not fit with any of those bands.
No. This is a show. This is like their show. They're headlining.
Okay.
I don't know. They got to fill it in with a bunch of like cold wave bands or something, man.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Wow,
So-
Depresión Sonora. We just played them last week too. Talking
Yeah.
about how like they're one of, between them and Depresión Postmortem are probably Andatura. Actually, I was gonna stop at 3, and then I'm thinking
Yeah.
like
Fucking.
that I'm really into right now of that cold wave scene. We gotta somehow you gotta call David, see if he can jump on that show.
Yeah.
That'd be a good show.
Yeah, that would be. I'm gonna hit him up. Go, hey, fucker, tour November. Hit up these
Yeah,
fuckers.
see, or just come down for that one show.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's a drive. It's a good,
It's like
16, 17.
It's like
16,
a
17 hour
day drive. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, that's a good show. I would do it. That'd be me.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to that show, dude. just want to throw it out there.
How many minutes before we go live?
Just about. Wait. Live now?
Sí,
¿Podemos?
no.
No.
Dr. G y sus fallas
Bien.
técnicas.
Si
One,
no
two,
fueran fallas técnicas, no
one.
fuera Dr. G.
Yes, we need to go live.
Ya, go live.
We're live.
Acaban de escuchar a El Matón, policía motorizado, junto a Carolina Durante con la canción Espacio Vacío. Antes de eso, Mujeres con los Puncetes. Man, that song. Un glorioso año. Both songs, different. I normally wouldn't put them together. But damn, we're missing that. We don't care. So whatever.
What's interesting about both songs is that they're contrast in styles. Like El Matón Policía
Of
and
the collabs, yes.
Diego,
I agree.
and then Puncetas with Mujeres. It's
Yeah.
like it works. You
Yeah.
wouldn't think
It
would.
shouldn't. It
Yeah.
shouldn't.
Yeah.
Estos vatos were getting drunk somewhere and said like, I dare you to put me on your next album. Sale vale. And you could tell Mujeres was probably talking to Los Puncetes like, you would never jam out with us.
And it happened.
And it happened.
Yeah. Pero,
She called their bluff.
Yeah.
such a great song. Hablando de great songs, vamos a tener que seguir porque sí, el día se nos está, la noche se nos está acabando poco a poquito con esta música tan increíble, pero antes hay que darle el reconocimiento a lo que es la banda Elástica y la banda Elástica Radio por darnos este espacio y también el network de DiavloVision aquí en mi vecino.
Con Diablo, man, shout out. He's visiting his familia.
Yeah, anda
de gira.
Anda de gira.
On a walkabout.
He's in Amsterdam.
Oh, damn. He's on a different type of gira.
He's not in Amsterdam, anda allá en Michoacán somewhere.
En Michoacán.
It's kind of close to Amsterdam. Bueno, seguimos. Saludos.
Órale. So, originalmente I had sent out pues la pinche idea para empezar el rollo de, I really like the duets que hacemos de vez en cuando. So it's like, it felt like it was about time. So I threw it out there.
Mm-hmm.
I had come across a couple songs que I'm like, yeah, let's do this. This song in particular is a guilty pleasure. Lanza Internacional, la rola se llama Mientras Duermes. Un duet con Juliana Gatas de Argentina, que es una cantante de una banda electropop, indie pop de Argentina, back in the day. I don't know, man. It's like this band is definitely, we're talking about guilty pleasures. It's one of those guilty pleasures. Mm-hmm. It's like it's catchy, and la rola siempre, they're infectious. What's interesting about this band y las tocamos no hace tanto. Miembros de esta banda, Fernando y Mauricio Durán, eran miembros anteriormente de una banda que se llamaba Los Bunkers. And G, you know a little bit more about them.
Yeah. Bueno, lo que fue Los Bunkers, ¿no? And I think they're all active todavía con diferentes grupos y obviamente en su era, ¿no? De los que fueron principios de los 2000, hicieron algo muy importante para el movimiento. Entonces, de escuchar, ahora, I was thinking about you, Diabólico, when listening to the song, and lo que acabas de decir, el guilty pleasure tuyo. Me encanta que traes música para nosotros y reconoces que tienes un lado muy oscuro, pero a la vez tienes una técnica de encontrarte grupos como esto que, aunque sea un poco pop, es súper chingón, ¿no? Típico de mi vecindad y típico del Diabólico. Vamos a escuchar.
I bring it to la gente.
And that's,
y este güey le encanta champaña con fresas y crema.
¿A mí o a él?
A los dos, güeyes.
A todos, cabrón, nos gusta a todos.
Vamos al closet de repente con ese champagne y esas fresas, Diabólico. Take it away.
Mi vecindad.
I love that about you. Really, it's like, and you're right. It does. If you listen to the song, it does have that Los Bunkers feel to it, for sure, right?
When I listened to this song, one of my guilty pleasures was the Cardigans. This reminds me a lot of the Cardigans.
Really?
Like old school. That's old school.
Yeah. Kind of like that vibe, kind of like
See,
that.
I was thinking more of like, not vocally, but of like later ending La Lupita.
Oh, okay. Wow. Okay.
Not vocally. But when they were getting into that, like,
they were very bassy, very dancey.
Like, right.
Kind of get into like that funk.
Yeah,
when they got super bassy, I honestly thought about No Doubt.
Okay. Yeah. I can see that. Because they se fueron de un lado de rock more into like the dance pop, like,
okay. I probably didn't listen to that stuff.
No, I'm just telling you because at that point I was like, I'm not really playing on the radio much anymore. But like,
right. Yeah. Now,
but it's a trip in 2023,
so
it's different.
Yeah.
And if you think about like, again, going back to like las influencias de como Los Bunkers, very like pop Beatlesque, that type of flavor. But there's something special about Lanza Internacional,
Mm-hmm.
And aren't they members from other countries, not los de Lanza?
Yeah, son de varios países. I can't remember off the top of my head where they're from.
Chile or something, or Chile and like some other.
Yeah. Oh, sí, de Chile y de México. So yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Dude, lo que me gusta un chingo is the vocals of Juliana in this song. It's just super catchy. I mean, you're going to shake your booty, man.
Oh, man, definitely. See, it's just, I'm worried, man. I'm worried. Our people miss.
What are you worried about, man?
I'm worried de que vamos a un club. I don't go to those places anymore, pero vamos a ir a un club de rock en español a escuchar música en español internacional, alternativa, y no vamos a escuchar a danza internacional, no vamos a escuchar a Del Aporte, no vamos a escuchar a El Matón Policía Motorizado,
Well, you might hear El Matón Policía Motorizado. If they don't, I don't know.
I think if you go to like España and if you go to
maybe
Mexico, you'll hear it. You'll hear it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, maybe let's just go to Mexico. Maybe that's what I need to do. I'm worried about los Estados Unidos. No muy unidos, pero aquí. Maybe that's what's going on. Estoy preocupado que aquí we're missing out on the good stuff. You're right. Actually, you're right. Porque allá en otros países tocan mucho estas canciones. Obviamente, se apoyan mucho más que aquí en los Estados Unidos. Hell, we don't even like support our own alternatives, Si no están en K-Rock, you know, which is now like a K-pop rock or something, you know, you're not necessarily hearing them. So, Annabelle.
Wait, what? K-pop is now.
No, I'm just saying.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
The K-Rock, you know, is now more pop than rock. So,
Dude, I love this version de esta canción, esta colaboración de Annabelle con Alberto Cantúa. It completely changes their sound, man.
And but does it?
Enough. I mean, enough.
Okay, see,
like the
okay, I'm gonna go back to the vocals. De Annabelle, the vocalist. Yeah, it makes him not so aggressive, and it challenges him to be, you know, a bit more Bronski beat. But you can still hear the intensity that he has.
Yeah, pero...
and that's what I'm saying. Like, you can still hear the ferociousness.
Pues eso no se lo quita. Pero what I love about it is the layers, the lushness que trae Alberto de la guitarra into their music. I was like, oh my God, wow, this is fucking amazing. Maybe this is what they should be doing.
And it probably will be. I mean, you can tell they're too polished to be a punk rock band forever. I mean, you can see it in Biznaga toward their third album. That's when I heard Biznaga's third album, I was going like, did they peak? That's the first thing I started thinking more like, I don't see that they can go, they reached the pinnacle of what that band can do.
Yeah.
And I don't want it to see it end. And then all of a sudden, Manolo brings me the ugly truth that the lead guitarist leaves 6 months later.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm like, okay. But something was telling me right in the beginning, I'm going like, man, they swung for the fences.
Yeah.
Did they hit a home run? In our opinion, they did.
Oh, fuck yeah. That album.
But I think the world wasn't ready for it. It's going to be one of those albums that like 10 years from now, they're going to be going back. But what a brilliant album. You know?
Yeah.
I don't know. Annabelle, I think they're going to morph in that direction anyways, because that's the natural progression for them, you know?
Yeah.
To where like they were too polished pop punk, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm not being derogatory in any shape or form. I'm just saying it just makes sense that
from what I've heard, it seems like they're heading that way, porque it seems like when I first me topé con ellos, how excited I was about them, like the sound that they had. And then
ferocious pop punk. You know?
Yeah. But it seems like that void is being filled by like Media Punta.
Bands, younger bands. Yeah.
Media Punta, toda la punta would fill that void for sure. Turning on mics.
Okay, acabamos de escuchar a la rola Cuando Despiertas Romo de Annabelle, featuring Alberto Cantúa, guitarrista de Viva Suecia. I love this song. Me gusta mucho lo que Alberto trae esta rola, just the lushness and the layers.
No, I mean, Viva Suecia has been around for almost 20 years.
Yeah. Are they still around, right?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, and they have some amazing, I mean, if you want to go into like, you know, really big commercial alternativo, that's one of the bands. I mean, they're like almost on the level of Coldplay para España. You know? So for them to knock on the door with Annabelle, I mean, there's a lot of little, I mean, if you look up and down, granted, I brought a couple of like, you know, really underground collabs, but all the hats con Señor Flavio. Huge name. Biznaga con Triángulo. I mean,
you're right.
Can't get much more wet dream than that, you know.
It's like the Grammys were doing that for a while. They would pair
a younger with a
But you know what? It's almost like acknowledging like a passing of the torch, you know?
Kind of, but not necessarily, because it's more like I view it in this way.
I think it's support.
It's kind of like saying, like, look, I see this band like Annabelle, they're doing some good shit, and they're like 25 years younger than me. I wouldn't mind jamming with them.
Absolutely.
and then you come up with a weird, and you pique their interest. You know what I'm saying? Like, so para mí, that's great,
Well, let's continue filling the void. A ver, Diabólico. Síguele, Diabólico.
Okay. Ahora we're going back to, so el Chivo trajo una rola en colaboración con Triángulo del Amor Bizarro. Y ahora yo también voy a presentar una rola de Triángulo del Amor Bizarro, Folia de las Apariciones. Es un duet con Menta.
Which is very young, very young.
Ajá. Y what's interesting, escuché la versión original de Triángulo, which I feel was a hidden gem. Porque era un poco la producción de la canción. It wasn't totally there. It wasn't, pero the music was there. And I feel like in esta colaboración, they just polish the shit out of it.
What I love the Triángulo del Amor Bizarro, but in equal parts, a lot of these new bands, Triángulo del Amor Bizarro might not be getting the commercial acclaim that they deserve, but there is so many young bands doing versiones de Triángulo, duets with Triángulo, tributos a Triángulo, and Triángulo's throwing down with them. It's almost like when we were kids and we were watching the Ramones doing all these stuff in the early 90s, kind of like saying like, and it's beautiful. Menta is like what, 2 years old, 3 years old, 3 years old tops.
3 at the most, yeah.
Okay. So, these kids grew up.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Listening Triángulo.
Yeah.
So for them to do a collab with Triángulo, they're just going like, like it's amazing, So when you were saying like, it's a nod, I'm going like, I think Triángulo is that's how cool Triángulo is, to know who's actually really good and not.
Yeah.
Because if you look at all the collabs that they're doing, they're with a who's who of like, who's great,
So, muchas de las canciones que hemos tocado de Triángulo del Amor Bizarro tend to be more recent. I went back and I listened to their first album and my jaw dropped.
No, Manolo, I always told you from the beginning.
I was like, oh my God, this shit is fucking amazing. And I can see why there would be a connection between, porque Menta is, so here's what's interesting about Menta. La cantante de Menta, Meji, her background, she's a flamenco singer. Pero her attitude is fucking punk rock.
Yeah.
Yeah, y está en una banda que está tocando indie punk rock. And I love el sello que puso en esta canción because I think she's one of the best
up and coming
female vocalists.
I agree. Yeah. Anyways, we're running out of time. Triángulo de Amor Bizarro junto a Menta, Mi Vecindad. No, Manolo, listen to the first few albums de Triángulo, de Los Puncetes, and Él Mató un Policía Motorizado. Listen to their 0506 to like, 2010 of all those three bands. And that's why I guess I come with such high praise for some of those bands when I talk about them, because a bunch of years back when we started this, that's what I went back and listened to it, and my mouth was like, pah.
Yeah.
So why do you think I keep going back to Gustavo Santaloa talking smack, yet they're interviewing El Mató un Policía Motorizado?
Right.
And I'm sitting there going, nothing against Triángulo and El Mató un Policía Motorizado, but I'd much rather 100% listen to their first 3 or 4 albums than some of the materials that they do today. But I can say that about every punk rock band that I grew up with also. So
yeah.
Menta, I think one of you mentioned this before, but she's got that cranberry feel from the cranberry.
Yeah, we've had that. Yeah.
I hear this. I hear it right now, which is interesting porque mencionaste Chivo get one of the up and coming and Diabolico voices, the female voices. Yeah.
The funny thing is, Madrid specifically has, off the top of my head, por lo menos 3, si no 4 grupos, no, quizás hasta 5, female-fronted alternative or punk rock, new female-fronted groups, and they're all amazing. You know, so I mean, if it's got a huge, and that's just the new groups. That's not including like todos los grupos de País Vasco, de Barcelona, you know, that have been around for years, you know. So right now it's a beautiful time. I remember like La Chancla, last time we invited her, she was saying, I don't know why there's not more like, you know, female empowerment, female fronted like bands. I'm like, what are you talking about, Vicky? You know, there's so much good music coming out, you know?
Yeah.
And I mean that with all sincerity. I mean,
Yeah.
Menta, Media Punta. I mean, oh, fudge. I can keep going.
Monte Perdido.
Monte Perdido.
Yeah.
One of my favorites, you know, Rata Negra, you know, like, I mean, and then we're still like looking at like Los Puncetes and Triángulo that are still female fronted also, you know. Anyways, great songs. Now the next song. Tell me about the next song, because I don't know very.
So the next song es una colaboración de Mauricio Terracino, which alter ego is The Vulture. So this is his solo stuff. Y esta es una colaboración with a couple of DJs. Uno de ellos es Mau Moctezuma, who is one of the youngest and most talented DJs in the electro scene in Mexico, and also Ross, who's a Mexican producer DJ. So to me, this is like because there's a huge style difference between what Mauricio Terracino does and then what the Vulture does. I tend to gravitate towards the Vulture, but this was one of the songs that caught my attention. I'm like, oh shit, this is actually really good. Yeah.
It's trippy, you know.
It's indiferente.
Totally. Pero lo que me gusta, está media lenta la rola, pero it just puts you like in a really mellow, chill place.
Very trance, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Y lo que me gusta de esta rola y la que escogiste tú, G, is it just has a beautiful fade out to tonight's set. Yeah.
And so there's Mau Moctezuma, Mauricio Terracino, y the DJ is Ross.
The DJ is Ross. No, the DJ is Mau Moctezuma. Yeah.
I think Ross is helping producing and probably dropping some beats también.
Yeah, I think we need to go to Spain, Mexico, and go to Argentina.
For sure.
And go to one of these, like, because this would probably be in one of those fancy type.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Esos hoyos elegante funky.
Yeah. Well, there's no funkiness because it was probably.
Yeah, you gotta like dress to impress just to get the fuck in.
Well, I don't think you need to dress to impress. You just need to be able to like.
Soltar billete.
So yeah, for sure. Soltar billete.
Esos bares de espuma.
De espuma. Well, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Y bueno, estamos escuchando la música a través de la banda Elástica Radio en el Face, YouTube, DiavloVision, la banda Elástica Radio también en el Facebook que no nos deja tocar música, pero a través de las redes de TuneIn 365, Live 365 y también en labandaelástica.com, ahí oprime el botón que dice radio y puedes escuchar la música de esta noche. It is trippy, man, indiferente. Like you could, yeah, maybe I'm tripping out too much. Turning on mics.
Ok, acabamos de escuchar a Indiferente, una canción de Mauricio Terracino. Mauricio Terracino es el ex bajista y vocalista de Zurdo o Zurdo Movimiento, pero también mejor conocido como
El Vulture.
The Vulture. Y esta rola es una colaboración con dos talentos de México. Uno es Mao Moctezuma, que es uno de los más jóvenes y talentosos DJs en la escena electro de México, y también Ross, que es un producer, DJ también de México. It's a, I mean, like we were talking al fuera del aire, man. It's like
it's a big nod of like the older veteranos that are still in the ring, still doing it with the up and coming talk. But Mauricio is definitely our age.
You got to honor his craft.
Yeah.
He is a talented musician, pero también a la misma vez super influential and relevant en la escena de México.
And he's a big producer too. I mean, like he's hands on. Ya ves, Gustavo.
Man, échale tierra. Mira, vamos a terminar esta noche porque tenemos que terminar, porque se nos termina la hora aquí en mi vecindad a través de la Banda Elástica Radio, y esta noche terminamos en el Gran Sur. Let's go to the south of California, y una colaboración con el grupo El Gran Sur, no es el Gran Sur, nomás se llama Gran Sur. Fíjate que, do you guys know about Gran Sur? Do you guys know about?
New to me.
So Iñaki, right? Iñaki and...
¿De Valderramas?
No.
Okay.
No, not de Fobia.
Not from Ilya Kuriaki.
Okay. No, Ilya Kuriaki.
Gotcha.
Iñaki,
okay.
Iñaki. Y otros talentos, Javier Ramírez Cha, Montserrat, que participa en esta colaboración. Sofobia Moderato. Fobia, no, Moderato. Y
Moderato just broke up, didn't they?
Well, the baterista is part of this, and Sofía and Iñaki de Fobia. So, very much lo que ha pasado a través de muchos de estos grupos, especialmente en Sudamérica, Centroamérica y en México, no, there is an essence to create sounds of the area. Y fue lo que es el Gran Sur, no, representando el sonido, mostrando la tradición de México, el sonido México, ¿no? Ese fue el objetivo del Gran Sur. Con estos grupos o miembros de grupos que, they grew up listening to Alfredo Jiménez, Agustín Lara, Durcas, Juan Gabriel, José José, that kind of influence.
Agustín Lara is the shit, bro.
But, fuck yeah. But at the same time, con instrumentos autóctonos. Anyway, long story short, they did this collaboration con Saúl Hernández, que obviamente están ahí en la mezcla, todos estos vatos, y vamos a terminar con esta señora Sophie. Vamos a terminar esta noche con esta canción que se llama Antes de que nos olviden, que es una canción propia de Saúl Hernández, cuando era parte y sigue siendo.
Caifanes.
La pinche voz de Saúl took me back, dude. He sounded great. In the song, he sounds great.
Yeah. And the way it's done. Thank you for ese reto diabólico con duets. Terminamos con Saúl Hernández and Gran Sur, Antes de que nos olvides, aquí en mi vecino.
Hasta la próxima semana, muchachos. Sagur.
Buenas noches, raza. Cuídense.
Mi vecindad. Everything about like the music, the song, el cómo se hizo con Gran Sur. And I remember hearing about Gran Sur because I read an article on La Banda Elástica. So hay un buen artículo a través de labandaelástica.com que describe muy bien qué es el Gran Sur, quién son el Gran Sur. But okay, earlier, before Diabólico, before you came on, Chivo said, duet, yo pensé en Rocío Dúrcal, Juan Gabriel, entonces, obvio, that influence is there with the way the music about the song is playing. Pero yo pensé lo mismo. Entonces, ¿cómo vamos a hacer un duet de cantantes? How is that going to figure out?
Yeah.
I think now it's not so much duets. It's more like real collabs,
Exactly.
collaborations from like top down, from like, and it creates a bit more than just two singers. It really changes the dynamics and the flows, and it's much more organic, in my opinion.
Yeah. I just called it duets because that's what had originally come to me. Pero it is any partnership in meshing of musical styles.
Mm-hmm.
Bueno, vamos
genres.
A el Face para que digamos dónde terminamos esta noche. Gracias, Facebook, La Banda Elástica Radio, DiavloVision y Mi Vecindad.